Okay, everyone, welcome and thanks for joining me for another special health focus. Today we're going to look at balance and standing on one leg. This was the conversation that the class had before we started recording. It seems to be a common theme nowadays that people say, well, stand on one leg and that'll be really good for you. And a few years ago, there was something on the news that said that those who could stand on one leg for, 20 seconds or 30 seconds had a greater life expectancy by over 10 years. And so all of a sudden, I was getting students coming up to me in a panic saying, I can't stand on one leg, I'm going to die. Thing is, we're all going to die eventually. But standing on one leg is not something that you can either do or can't do. It is, as far as a Tai Chi teacher is concerned, a learned behavior. You can learn how to do it. There are techniques, there are methods that will help you be strong, help you balance, help you have confidence that you can do it. So pretty much, if you can stand on 2 feet safely, you can stand on 1 foot. But that's the key. We start with 2 feet. So don't try to fly before you run. So we start to crawl, then we start to walk, then we'll take a bit of a leap. Okay, so let's salute, please. Right hand in fist, left hand straight, feet together, hands together, and we salute. Thank you. Let's open our stance. So first of all, I want to get you moving a little bit. So you're limbering your system. So we're feeding into the 4 corners of the hips. You may notice we do this exercise in most classes because it's a jolly good exercise. We are limbering, so we are using our muscles and we are loosening any tightness that may have crept in. We are helping the fluid between the joints to warm by a little bit of friction. It warms and therefore it sort of plumps up and gets nice and slippery. So you may notice at first you get some crunches and crackles. And funny with me, I often start smooth and then I get the crunches and crackles. And then after a while they die down again and it becomes smooth again. So there's lots of changes going on within the system as we just gently feed through the 4 corners. Be careful not to push your hips out. It's not a big sort of belly dance type move. We want to stay within the 4 corners of the hips. So we're maintaining structure. Good. So this is not just warming, this is also calibrating. It's asking all of the muscle fibers of all of the various muscles connecting the legs and the body to wake up and work as a team. So if you have some muscles that are underactive and some that are compensating, this exercise is jolly good to calibrate, to get everything to work as a team. Let's change direction, please. So I would encourage you to do 30 of these in each direction every day. And it is actually strengthening as well as stretching, as well as waking up the system. It's circulating the chi rather nicely around the center. And it is engaging all of the muscles of the body to a certain extent. So that means that your core is being activated. So here is a preparation exercise that wakes us up, that prepares us, that strengthens us, and gives us a decent foundation. So before you start trying to stand on one leg, I would warm your system. Don't just get out of bed and try and stand on one leg. Warm yourself by moving. And that will give you a decent chance. Good. Not only warming, but I'd like you to have a bit of a stretch as well. Good. So let's come back into the center and we'll step 1 foot forwards. We can kick it out, step it down. So wherever your foot lands, that's the correct width, and we're going to feed the weight forwards and back. Now, way back in the mists of time, I was studying with a master I was doing maybe 3, 4, even 5 classes with him a day because I was his teaching assistant, shall we say. And every class we did the same warm-up. And I got a bit bored at one stage and I said, could we do something different for warm-up? And he went, nope. So repetition, even though it may get a bit monotonous, it's really important for our bodies because it builds body memory and strength. Good. Let's change over, please. As long as the exercises, let's kick it out and step down and continue. As long as they're good exercises, they will stand you in good stead. And I recently listened to some information about Bruce Lee. A gentleman was saying how he had one leg longer than the other. I wouldn't have known that, didn't see that at all. And lots of little tidbits of information about him. And one of the things that Bruce Lee said was that he would rather be hit by someone who did one punch 1,000 times a day than someone who knew 10,000 ways to punch. So it's a very potent expression, and he's just right. If you practice one thing many times, boy, you'll become strong at it. Good. And rest. Whereas if you have a very eclectic vocabulary, but you never practice any of your moves a lot, how on earth can you get anywhere near good at them? Good. So let's open our stance a little wider. Take your hands to the greater trochanter, so that means not the waist, but where your hips meet your legs, that little notch, and sit down. Release belly, hips and knees. Good. So now we're going to do a little circle of one leg, and we're going, I'm picking this leg here, my left leg, and I'm just gently circling around, going out, around, forwards and in, that way. You see, I'm using my hand. You can help yourself to feel it by using your hand as well, like you're stirring a pot, but just with one leg. Now this is quite intense, and it actually creates a kind of figure of 8 in the hips, but we don't worry about that. We're just going to do a little circle round at your own comfortable level. So if it's not comfortable, you can try smaller stance, higher stance, and let's change over to the other side. So we're going out, around and in, and this is a leg strengthening exercise. It's limbering, it's using the leg, but we're building strength. So we're just working on one leg. Even though both feet take some of the weight, we're focusing on one leg. Can you see how that would be useful then later on when you're standing on one leg? If you're focusing on one leg, there's more energy going into that leg and you're building strength. Good. All right. Well done, and walk your feet gently in. Let's ease out of our stance. Now, another very useful thing is to stretch. Stretching creates a nice, long, comfortable muscle strands that can fire and release. So a firing muscle shortens. There's my bicep, has just curled my arm in, but the muscle has to release in order for the complementary muscle to contract and straighten my arm again. So muscles can only contract and let go. They can't push things out. It takes a second set of muscles to contract to lengthen my arm. But we need to be able to release those muscles. So stretching can help. However, if you're experiencing a knot of muscles, if you're experiencing cramp, a lot of people think, oh, I'm in cramp, so stretch it. No, don't try to stretch a cramp, because what will happen, there's your knot, and you try to stretch it, it will just tear. It'll tear little threads of muscle. It won't actually release. So if you have a knot of muscles, you can knead into it, you can manipulate it, you can breathe into it, you can get yourself some magnesium oil and rub it straight in, but don't try to stretch it. We want to stretch the muscles before we use them, and hopefully that will reduce the risk of getting knots and cramp. Also, breathing is important. Okay, so let's take a nice big step, comfortable step forwards. If you're not great with balance, we were talking about balance and standing on one leg, what you can do is have a chair or a platform to hold on to. So I'm going to show you with a trusty chair here. So here is my chair, and I'm going to use it like a ballet bar. So me being a ballet dancer, I'm so used to having something to hold on to. It's very advanced to be able to do lots of ballet without any bar. We normally start at the bar. Even though we're all perfectly fit and healthy, you start holding on to something and then progress as you warm up to going into the center of the room and dancing without anything to hold on to. So isn't that interesting? People often think if you're sick or elderly, then you use support. But actually, as a ballet dancer, an athlete, we start with a support. We don't just start throwing our bodies around any old way. So let us take a nice comfortable step forwards. And I'm starting with my bar ahead of me, so that when I step forwards, I can then comfortably hold on to my bar. Maybe I can move it a little bit back. Good. Okay, so I'm going to use the same, let me see. No, I'm not. So let me see. The bar is to my left. So in order to do this exercise, I need to step forwards with my left foot. Okay. So I can hold on to the bar or chair, and my other hand is coming to my hip. So the leg that is back, you take that hand, same hand to hip, and I'm going to very gently bend my front leg. Now we've just done a warming exercise where we're going forwards and back, so now it's more safe to stretch. And do you see how gently I'm doing this? I'm just bending my front leg and I'm encouraging the hip forwards. If you don't have a bar, or if you don't want to use a support, you just take your hand to your thigh and that acts as your support. But I'm going to use my bar this time. So I'm encouraging the hip forwards and sitting the body down. Now, if I feel I need more of a stretch, which I do, I can come up and I can walk my front foot gently forwards, maybe 1 centimetre, maybe 2 centimetres, and then try again. And I'm encouraging my hip down as I relax and breathe. Breathing is key to stretching. Very good. So I can feel a stretch across the front of my leg here, but often people will also feel it down the backs of their legs. Notice my front knee has not gone past my front toes, but if I were to square up, then I could go, or unsquare, turn, then my knees could go into danger territory where they go beyond the toes. So we don't want the knees beyond the toes. Very good, and I can come up and I can walk my feet in. So can you do this with me? You may not have a bar or a chair, or you may not want to use a support, no problem. Then just take your hand to your thigh. So I'm on my other side. I have my right hand to the chair. So I'm going to step my right leg forwards. Actually, I want my chair a wee bit in front of me. And my left leg is back, so my left hand comes to my hip. And I'm going to use my hand to push or guide, feed the hip forwards. Staying upright, keeping the body upright, I breathe and relax down into the stretch. Keep breathing. Now on this side, I feel like I'm getting enough of a stretch, so I don't need to expand my stance any further. But if I did, I'd come up a little bit, scoot forwards, and go down again. And keep encouraging that hip to come forwards. Good, now I'm going to release, and I'm going to walk my feet gently in. Good, and a wee shake out. So we don't necessarily want to become reliant on a support, but it can be very useful. So I'm going to show you now a little rotation down the leg, which again is a single leg exercise. We stand on one leg. We keep the hips level. And this is something that is absolutely fundamentally key for standing on one leg. What often happens, and I hold my hand up, I'm tempted to do it every time I stand on one leg, we do this. Do you see the line of my t-shirt has gone on a diagonal? Do you see the line of my hips? Very uneven. So that is something that we often do. We lift the leg by lifting the hip. That is very poor alignment and is going to make it much more difficult to balance, and certainly is going to be less health giving than if you keep your hips level. So let's stand on one leg, release one foot so that the tips of the toes sit on the floor, and see, can you keep your hips level? You can even take your hands to your hips and just check, are they level or are you lifting? Or are you dropping this way or leaning, bowing out? That is also a really awful way, you can see that, can't you, to stand on one leg. We want to keep our structure. So now we just gently send a circle through the leg, and it creates a spiral down into the floor. So if you had sciatica, for example, doing it this way, you would be safe, you would not be likely to make the sciatica worse. Change direction, please. Whereas if you do it this way, with the hip raised, all manner of nasties could affect your spine and your nerves, and all sorts of discomforts could arise. So keep your hips level and don't let them bulge in either direction. You can see it when somebody else does it wrong. Shake out, please. You'll see it a mile away. You'll go, oh, that's not right. Okay, so I could come over to the other side, or I could continue to use my little platform. I'm not leaning into it like this. Please don't do that. But just for a little bit of reassurance, sit down on the other foot. Keep the hips level and send a spiral down through the leg. And breathe. Good. So you see, I'm not contradicting the physios and the celebrity doctors. Let's change direction, please. Who say standing on one leg is really good. It is really good. But what I'm saying is build up your capacity to do it and do it right so that you get the benefits. Good. Shaking out, please. So you can see there, Tai Chi is a one-legged exercise. Apart from when we're doing standing practice, where the weight is 50-50, we are continuously 1 foot empty, 1 foot full. And then we're swapping 1 foot empty, 1 foot full. So the entire time you are doing your Tai Chi, 1 foot empty, 1 foot full, you are standing on one leg. It doesn't necessarily have to be this upright position, but we have that as well. In Golden Cockerel, stands on one leg. Okay. Good, so I think we are relatively warm, we're relatively stretched. I'd like to do one more stretch for the backs of the knees. Now in Tai Chi we spent most of our time in this bended knee position, but actually if we're going to do a kick, we want to feel comfortable in the back of the leg. Did you see there when I did that kick, I did not completely straighten my leg? And I used to, as a ballet dancer, I used to think, oh great, it's a kick, so I extend. And actually my knees and elbows bend backwards. They actually can go way beyond the normal range. But Tai Chi should always maintain this 70-30 principle. So when you kick in Tai Chi, you actually kick, do you see that? 70%, not 100%, 70%, which means you have a kind of strength and elasticity and a safety buffer, so that if someone were to strike your knee and your ankle, your knee wouldn't shatter. There would be a buffer. You would feel a bounciness rather than, ooh, a terrible jolt. So even with that though, we're going to do a wee stretch. So if you have a support, you can use it. I don't normally use support, so this is weird for me. If you don't want to use a support or you don't have one handy, you can go without. We're going to kick the leg forwards again and step down. Now we've moved forwards and back, so this time we're just going to feed the weight back. Bend the back leg, keep the front leg empty. There is a one-legged stance. The thing is, your weight of your leg can go into the front foot, but not your body weight. Now we glide the hands down to just above the knee. And if you wanted to, you could use a support, or you can just breathe and relax, lengthening your spine, folding forwards from the hips. Good. If you can, pull your toes back and take hold of your foot, pulling the toes up, drawing the chin down, and using your other hand to gently encourage the leg to be quite straight. Good, relax your foot down, feed your weight forwards, and safely float up. Well done. We do the same on the other side. You can have a little shake out. Actually, I find without an added support, the structure supports you quite nicely, but the number of times I've lost my balance and had to put my hands to the floor, I can't count. So if you feel you're going, don't just go. Use your hands. So even the floor can be a useful support. So let's kick it out, step it down, and again feed the weight back, bring the hands down to just above the knee, lengthen the spine, and gently hinge forwards. Keep breathing. So breathing feeds your muscles and helps them to relax. The out breath in particular allows the muscles to release. Now if you can release, pull the toes back, take hold, same side, hand and foot, and pull the toes back as you encourage the chin down, and use the opposite hand to keep the leg relatively straight. As long as you feel a stretch, you're doing it right. Good. Relax the foot down, feed the weight forward, and up you come. Excellent. Okay, so let's address this business of standing on one leg. As I say, in order to safely, to the best of your ability, stand on one leg, I would highly recommend first doing standing practice on two legs. Because when you're on two legs, it's easy to get that alignment of the hips and the shoulders and the spine. And if we are focusing on that, relaxing into it, working on it, then when it comes to asserting the same qualities on one leg, it will be far more familiar and doable than if we just chuck ourselves into standing on one leg. So let us please do a little bit of standing practice. Now, normally when my teachers say, let's do a little bit of standing practice, they mean no less than 20 minutes of standing. Whereas we're just going to do a few minutes. I don't want to force the matter, and we have to build up this ability, but it will hugely help with standing on one leg. I know it may seem like night and day, but bear with me, please. So we start with our feet together. We lengthen up through the top of the head, the chin slightly down and back. We take a nice deep breath and we sigh. Sigh the tension away. Think of a flood of tension releasing down through the feet into the floor. Let's do it again. Deep breath. And sigh the tension away. Good. Now you can just stand for a moment, quiet and still, and see if you can let go through your structure into the floor. And isn't it interesting? It is quite difficult with the feet together to balance, because the feet together are like one foot. So it is actually quite close to standing on one foot. When you have your feet together, it's wuji, you have oneness. So even practicing this, letting go through the system into both feet, into the floor, practicing letting go through the wobbles, but maintaining your plumb line, your vertical alignment, will build your strength and build your balance. You can probably see I'm actually swaying a little bit, and that's perfectly normal, but the more you do it, the more calm and still you'll become. So that's your first little exercise in building core strength, in building stability for balancing on one leg. You start balancing on both. Now let's lengthen the fingers gently down. Feel all 10 fingers. Can you feel them evenly? And we're going to release through the belly, the hips, and the knees. Release down into the ankles, release into the feet, release into the ground. And fill your right foot. Now I'm doing this, I'm not mirroring. Fill the right foot, empty the left foot, peel the left foot away, step open, relax the foot down and feed into your center, between your 2 feet. At this stage, I would always look down, check that the feet are absolutely in line, and then look forwards again. Checking posture, lengthening up through the top of the head, the chin down and back, releasing, relaxing down through the body, releasing down through the legs and the feet. Now we want at this stage to have the feet directly beneath the shoulders. So not outside the shoulders and not much inside the shoulders, but just directly underneath. So you have 2 columns, so to speak, with the body hanging down the middle. And from that posture, we can calm, release, let the spine hang, let the shoulders release, let everything feel very loose. Just the top of the head remains lengthening up and the chin slightly down and back. And then we can float the hands forwards a little bit and away from the body, and we feel for a connection between the 2 hands. Once we've established that connection, we can float the hands up to about level with your solar plexus, just above your waist. Notice if I show you sideways on, my hands are quite close to my body, like a thick pillow, or even a relatively thin pillow is gently being held. And we stand in that posture, listening, feeling, and letting go through any tension that we feel arising within the body. So do that for 10 minutes, 20 minutes a day. You will feel strong as a house within a week. It will be much easier to feel strength in your legs and your core. I always wanted a 6-pack when I was at ballet school, and I used to do endless sit-ups, 300 sit-ups a day on top of my training, and I never got a 6-pack. But at one stage I decided to really focus on my standing, and I would do 3 times through the form a day, the long form, and within a week I had a 6-pack. Because even though we're listening, feeling, and letting go through the tension, just floating in standing practice is continuously engaging your core. It's continuously engaging your entire body. So listen, feel, and let go. This is your homework, folks. If you want to stand on one leg, easily, safely, more confidently, I want you to practice standing on 2 legs. So see if you can do 5 minutes a day. That's an entry level practice. And keep listening, keep feeling, keep letting go of tension. So if you can, do it without music, do it without television, no radio, just listening to your body, breathing into it, letting go. And then try lifting your right toes, turning your body, which turns your toes, putting your foot down, feeding your weight into that foot, squaring up, releasing the other foot, and bringing your hand and your foot as one, lift. Now, bring your hand in front of your nose. Allow your body to open. So you're not square to the front like this. Allow your body to open and look past your fingertips. Breathe and relax down through your supporting leg, keeping the top of the head light, and focus your eyes. And there you stood for over 10 seconds on one leg. So let's bring the foot down, turn it out, feed your weight into it, find a platform with your hands about level with your dantian, level with your belly, hands and foot together, lift, focus your eyes ahead, the heel of the hand comes down, bringing your fingertips in front of your nose. So your body has opened to your supporting leg side, feel the top of the head floating up, focus your eyes, relax down through the standing leg. Keep breathing. Good, and relax down. Well done. So let's take a breath. Good. So there are many, many techniques for standing on one leg. I have only just touched on one today, which is start by standing on two legs. Relaxing through your body in good structure allows your structure to become familiar and stronger. So good structure has to be worked on. You can't just lift your leg and hope for the best. Top of head up, body down, let go. The more time you spend releasing through your body, relaxing down, the more you build up density of energy in your lower body. That gives you strength, it feeds your muscles, and it makes you feel very grounded and strong and balanced. The longer you stand, relaxing, releasing down into the ground, into the floor, the more the upper body feels light and open and free. So just think, if you have very heavy at the bottom and very light at the top, that will help you balance. You can stand, you can do your kicks easily. Whereas if you want to stand on one leg and you're a bit nervous, maybe a little bit scared, not sure of your balance, not sure that your body can do it, and you just go for it, your energy rises and you become top heavy. The energy is dense up top and it might not be much down there at all. And so when you go to kick, there's this feeling of, oh, I'm gonna go. That's not what we want. So stand on two legs first, please. Take your time, calm down, listen behind, wait until your legs feel kind of thick and heavy, relaxed but heavy, and the upper body feels free and light and empty. And then try standing on one leg. Good, okay, so now let's try standing on one leg. Let us look at two bees buzzing. Now, as I said before class, there's a bit of rotation going on in this section of the form. Watch me, please. I'm just going to show you the way it is done in the form if we're using the arch here as the front of the room. So we have just done single whip where the body is open to the corner. We look back and we take a half step and high pat on horse. We scoop, cross hands, and just release the front foot to sink down. The body comes up, and we glance to the left and right, and center, arms bring legs, and we kick to the corner. Then we bring the foot down and square to the corner for our 2Bs buzzing. To then feed the weight back and turn to the back of the room as we scoop the arms under, arms and legs together, lift, and we kick to the corner. So that is the separate, kick right, 2Bs buzzing, separate, kick left section. But in my mind, there's the choreography of kicking and arm placement, and then there's the choreography of turning in the space. And turning in the space can be quite daunting for any class, even if I'm with them and running round, especially if I'm running round to be in front of them, because they're kind of left, well, where am I going? Where are you? Where am I? All this stuff. So let's have a look, adjusting the turning business, just let's have a look at the direction, at the angles, at the kicks and the punch themselves. Okay, so I'm going to do a wee bit of mirroring for you. So let us go from single whip. So our second single whip in the form. So can you step forwards with your left foot? Remember, I'm mirroring now. So your left hand and foot straight towards the screen, please. And your back foot, your right foot, is slightly turned out, 45 degrees. Your body, remember, is open to the corner. So we mentioned this before, it's not bow stance. It's not square to your front. The hand and foot are going forwards, but the body is open so that we get a comfortable stance with the hand in hook above the back foot. Good. Now we're going to look back, untwist and open the hands. Bring the hands to face up. We take a half step, bringing the back foot and hand in towards you. Put the foot down, feed your weight back for high pat on horse, where your left hand is coming in towards your body and your right palm is chopping about level with your throat. So this is chopping someone's throat. Bit nasty, right? But it works very nicely. Good. So we're going to scoop the hand under, bring the hand that is against your body slightly forwards and on top. And we just lift just a little bit. The hands bring the foot. Now we sink the body down in order to extend forwards, and while the body goes down, the arms roll up. And we feed the weight forwards and we look to the left first, then to the right, just past your hands, and then to the center as we gather the hands and bring the foot in, and as one unit, everything comes up. So you're not absolutely bracing your standing leg, it's a little bit bent. Turn the toes back, turn the hands, and feed into the corner. Hand, foot, eye line. The other hand is mirroring. Good. Release the toes down, square up. Step down, make fists. And roll around to punch at level with your own temples. Good. And rest. Just that much, please. Take a breath. And you might be thinking, get on with it, I can't stand on one leg. Yes, you can. Lengthen up through the top of the head, sink down through your supporting leg, focus your eyes, breathe. And if you're still struggling, don't worry, I will go over more techniques to help you stand on one leg. But let's just get the choreography. So let's do that again, please. Ready? Left leg forwards, left hand forwards. We look back, open, half step, front hand comes in, the hand that was back goes forwards. We scoop, we cross, we release, we sink down as the hands roll up and step, glance to your left, glance to your right, look forwards, gather and lift, and lean into the kick a little bit. Drop the toes down, square up, to the corner, step down, curl into fists, around and punch in, level with your temples. Good, so let's continue. Now we're going to leave out the turns. Let's feed the weight back, open the hands, and just turn to face the front this time, please, as you scoop your arms around. And the arms bring the legs. Let's bring the left foot, lift, turn back the toes, turn the hands, and kick, and gently lean into the kick. Release, toes down, make a hook with the right, bring the left side across, relax down, and rest. Take a breath. Very good. So you can hear me saying lean into the kick, because what often you see, not always, but often you see when people are trying to kick and they maybe have a tight hamstring, they've got tight muscles down the back and back of legs, then when they go to kick, they do this. See what I mean? They're leaning away from it. Whereas actually if you lean into it, in effect, you'll keep yourself upright and you'll have more balance. So let's just try that. Forget the choreography for a second. Let's just see if we can lean into our kick. Also, the other hand is your counterbalance. It's your counterweight. I often see people get the hand and the foot and the eye line, but this hand is anywhere. It's just kind of wafting around somewhere. We want to have structure. Structure gives balance. So the arms come up, turn the palms, do it with me, and extend. So we have equal extension, we have balance. So yes, we're looking over one hand, but we could easily look over the other hand just as well. We have mirror symmetry with the arms. So it's not out here somewhere. It's 45 degrees, 45 degrees. So let's try it again. Just the kick. Yeah, keep it in front of you. And the blades of the hands are feeding. It's not like this. It's not a palm push. It's a blade of hand at 45 degrees. Sometimes I think literally of going up to the corner of a building, standing, facing the corner, and sliding my hands along the two walls. If you do that, pretty much you'll get it right. Okay, you might take the skin off your hands if it's a brick wall, so be careful. Okay, are we ready? Let's scoop up, top of head up, standing leg down. Turn the palms, pull back the toes, lean into the kick with mirror symmetry, hand, foot, eye line in one line. Good. Release, bring the hands in, relax, take a breath. Let's try it on the other side. Good. So your supporting foot wants to be slightly turned out. It is much harder to balance on one leg if the foot is parallel. It's not impossible, but it's much harder. So in these kicks, and even in Chen style, you want to balance on a slightly turned out foot. Chen style is more hardcore. We tend to do things more the difficult way. But even then, when you stand on one leg, it's just so much easier to do it turned out. So why would you make life difficult? So turn out that foot, ready, scoop, and as one, lift. Turn toes, pull back, foot, and extend. Lean into it a little bit. And release, and relax down. Very good. So these are fancy ways of standing on one leg. What you could do, if you want to take on the physio's advice or the Dr. Mosley advice, and you're thinking, right, well, I need to stand on one leg, but you're finding the kick difficult, then do the preparation for a kick. Gather as one, arms and legs. So your body is going up and your supporting leg is going down. Let's try it. Scoop, gather, up, top of head up. Chin down and back, tail down. Feel down into the floor. Breathe. Very good. And rest. Let's try it on the other side. Gathers, turn out the supporting leg just a little bit. Gathers, scoop, nice and round, nice and full, and up as one. Focus your eyes. Breathe. Brilliant. Well done, and rest. Good. Take a breath. So I'm definitely not against one-legged standing. I think it's a really good idea. It will definitely make you stronger, but I want you to practice first standing on both legs, doing your standing practice to give you that strong alignment, strength foundation. Interestingly, I did Tai Chi for 1 year, practiced for 1 year, and then met the master that I basically shadowed for 9 years in every single class. But there were 8 months when I went off to America to do a scholarship, to do studies, and I didn't have him with me. So I said to him before I went, I will practice every day, I will do the forms. And he said, don't. I don't want you to practice the forms, because by the time you get home, you will have changed it all and you will have built in all these mistakes without me. So don't. But he asked me to stand on one leg every day for 10 minutes on each side. Not just standing on one leg, he wanted me to do a kick for 10 minutes on each side. And I tried and I failed. I got to about 2.5 minutes. He wanted the leg as high as it could be for as long as it could be. So I was here, you know, and now I can do it for a few seconds. But I got to about 2.5 minutes, and slowly and inevitably the leg would start to drop, and I would try to push it back up and couldn't. But that was his homework that he gave me for the 8 months that I couldn't actually study on a regular basis with him. So I did it as best I could. But yeah, I never got to 10 minutes. I just did what I could, and that's all we ever ask of you. So I'm not asking you to do that homework, but you could try 3 seconds on each side. But my homework for you is to do at least 5 minutes of two-legged standing. And then, if you want to do your one-legged standing, go straight in and see how it feels. And notice the difference. Maybe try it the next day. Don't do the stand. Go straight into the one-legged standing and see the difference, because I'm serious, it's going to make a world of difference. Calming down, listening, letting go in good structure builds a strong structure. Think of it like jelly in a mold. So if you put jelly into a mold, or gelatin or whatever you call it, and leave it for a long period of time in the fridge or whatever, take the mold away, you have a really beautifully formed structure that you can move, and it'll wobble and it'll move around, but it will always pull itself back into position. But if you pour the jelly in the mold for 5 minutes, then take the mold away, it'll just go splat. And our bodies are exactly the same. They learn by repetition. They learn by continuous effort through time. So if you stand on 2 legs for as long as you can and then go into your one-legged stance, you will be like a house. You will be really strong. So that is my homework for you, folks. So for now, let's wind down. We didn't get round to doing the form, apologies, but I feel this work is worthy of a good look, especially because it seems to be more and more relevant. People keep getting the advice to stand on one leg, so let's do it well. If you're going to do it so that you get the benefits. And if you are a Tai Chi person, as you all are, then there's no excuse to do standing on one leg poorly. You can do it well and get the most out of your practice. So let's go down to the 2 legs and give them a wee bit of love. Knees, lower legs, ankles and feet. Good. If you're working after operations or after injury, I would do it to the comfortable level of your body. So again, don't force anything. If your body is screaming at you, if you have nerve pain, sciatica, I would encourage you to do the two-legged practice much more than the one-legged practice, because it's going to give you every chance of addressing the problem rather than exacerbating it with excess effort. Good, so let's shake out, please. But all Tai Chi, as I said, apart from standing practice, is one-legged practice. We're continuously full and empty, and we're shifting from full to empty, and that creates balance. The entire practice of Tai Chi is one long exercise in filling what's empty and emptying what's full. So throughout your Tai Chi practice, you are standing on one leg, even if it's just for a short period of time. It's not like normal walking where we just throw our weight. We're actually holding, sustaining, and supporting ourselves well. Let's take a deep breath, please. And relax down. And again. Last time, fill your lungs. Stretch your fingers into the sky, press your toes down into the earth. Think of sealing in your good energy. And now let's release and guide the hands to center. Hug your elbows gently in and breathe. Feel the touch of your hands, the warmth of your hands flowing into your center. And feel your energy is stronger. Well done, relax down, beautiful. Thank you so much for putting up with my rants. I want you so much to get the most out of your Tai Chi and the most out of your health practice. And sometimes that means basically stripping away what's been asked of you and work on the foundation, preparation. So think of making a good, healthy meal from scratch. It's all about the preparation. Wash everything first, peel everything first, chop everything first, get it all ready, and then making the food is just a pleasure, it's easy, and it will go well. If you try to make a complex meal with the raw ingredients, but only haphazardly throw them together, it's not going to be so nice. So standing practice is your foundation for any further health practice. So please have a look at it. I've been doing it every day this week, and I feel the difference it is making to my practice is night and day. And I think to myself, why am I not doing this every day, every day, every day? It just requires discipline and to remember the benefits are so huge. It is worth that little bit of concentration and just doing it. Thank you so much, everyone. Well done. Please have a play with it. See how you get on. Stand for a bit and then stand on one leg and then enjoy. You can do it. Well done. Thank you.